Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we bring you a story full of surprises and hidden angles that few people know about. Don't leave just yet. Just when you think you've figured it all out, there are fascinating and meaningful details waiting for you at the end of the video. Let's explore together and uncover the special message this video has for you. Are you ready? Let's get started. Crimson sails cut through perilous waters, threading between the lush green coasts of Sumatra and the Malay Peninsula. Few sailors dared navigate this treacherous passage, but these immense ships pressed forward undeterred, their hulls adorned with fearsome carvings of dragons and phoenixes. At the helm of this grand imperial fleet was Admiral Zheng, leading his ships back to China. As the fleet forged ahead, the dreaded pirate armada of Chen Zui emerged on the horizon. Chen Zui had long terrorized these waters, looting and extorting passing vessels, laden with precious goods like cinnamon, pepper, and other exotic treasures. Zheng's fleet made an irresistible target. Demonstrating strategic brilliance, Zheng advanced with a small detachment, baiting the pirates into pursuit. As the trap was sprung, the imperial fleet closed in, showering the pirate ships with incendiary gunpowder. Flaming projectiles tore through their sails, and a fiery inferno consumed 10 pirate vessels. After months of relentless pursuit, Zheng captured Chen Zui and returned triumphant to the splendid capital of Nanjing. Chen Zui faced execution, while Zheng was celebrated by the Yongle Emperor for his triumphs. The admiral brought back not only treasure but also envoys and goods from India, Malacca, and Sumatra, solidifying China's diplomatic and commercial influence. This exchange of luxury items symbolized foreign acknowledgement of the emperor's divine authority, bolstering his legitimacy after ascending to power through a bloody civil war. At the emperor's side was Zheng, the loyal ally since the prince's youth. Captured and castrated as a boy during a Ming campaign against the Mongols, Zheng had risen to become a trusted commander and symbol of the empire's reach. Under the emperor's orders, Zheng embarked on yet another voyage, journeying to Java, India, and beyond. His fleet witnessed the Hindu practice of sati, marveled at India's grand temples and elephants, and encountered a tapestry of diverse cultures and faiths. As a Muslim in a land rooted in Confucian, Taoist, and Buddhist traditions, Zheng carried with him the shared legacy of the vast Islamic world, which had long exchanged scholars, traders, and ideas across continents. Centuries before Zheng's voyages, Chinese explorers encountered echoes of distant worlds. A Chinese soldier captured in 751 during a battle with the Abbasid Caliphate described lands as far as North Africa, noting bold customs and distinct peoples. Arab merchants later brought rare goods like frankincense and rhinoceros horn to Chinese ports, and with them came enslaved Africans, victims of the burgeoning Arab slave trade. While the plight of these captives was grim, China held free Africans in high regard, as evidenced by the Song Emperor's opulent reception of African traders in the 11th century. Commerce bridged cultures, carrying stories of African nomads, fearsome creatures, and mystic traditions to Chinese shores. By the 13th century, customs officials recorded tales of African magic, shape-shifting into birds and beasts to cast spells on foreign ships. These legends, mingled with trade and diplomacy, painted a vivid picture of Africa in the minds of medieval Chinese. Such exchanges underscored the interconnectedness of distant civilizations, a testament to the daring spirit of explorers like Zheng and the boundless horizons they sought to traverse. From the daring voyages of intrepid merchants arose a rich tapestry of myth and wonder, tales of distant kingdoms and enigmatic spellcasters beyond the farthest seas. While the Silk Road thrived under Mongol rule and brought African scholars like Seth of Mogadishu to China, the Great Khan showed little interest in venturing into the pirate-laden waters. But with the rise of the Ming dynasty came a new chapter. Admiral Zheng, he would awaken the Dragon Throne's maritime power, leading a renaissance of exploration and diplomacy. In 1414, as Zheng's colossal fleet of hundreds of ships and 30,000 men ventured to India and beyond, a smaller contingent returned to the Yongle Emperor with an extraordinary gift from the King of Bengal. The creature, the court's wise men proclaimed, was a legendary Qi Lin, the mystical beast whose divine footprint had heralded the birth of Confucius in ancient times. Described as towering 15 feet high, with the body of a deer, the tail of an ox, and a soft, horn-like protuberance, this gentle being seemed to have crossed into the mortal realm as a harbinger of prosperity. In reality, it was a giraffe brought from the eastern coast of Africa. A year later, Zheng returned with his main fleet, bearing another Qi Lin and envoys from the African city-states of Malindi. Soon after, representatives from Mogadishu and Brava arrived at the imperial court, where an exchange of gifts and promises of goodwill cemented diplomatic ties. The Yongle Emperor vowed to return these envoys to their homelands, and Zheng once again set sail, guiding his fleet to the shimmering palaces of India and the court of the Sultan of Aden. With each voyage, Zheng consulted celestial maps and meticulously studied a massive 21-foot chart, navigating the coasts ahead. As the fleet reached Africa, white dhows scattered before the enormous Chinese vessels, their sheer size evoking both awe and caution. In Mogadishu, a bustling city of Somali and Swahili speakers under the Ajuran Sultanate, Zheng's crew marveled at the vibrant life around them. Towering lime and coral stone houses lined the streets, where merchants displayed their goods and women adorned in vibrant scarves moved gracefully. Children stared wide-eyed at the procession of foreigners, while the Chinese noted the gold earrings of the local women and the arid beauty of the land. Zheng's fleet offered porcelain, gold, silk, and rice, receiving in return myrrh, ivory, and an exotic menagerie, rhinoceroses, lions, ostriches, and zebras. The locals, wary yet intrigued, observed the fleet's immense power, floating cities brimming with the world's largest ships. This same might had dethroned a Sri Lankan king who dared defy Zheng's trading mission. The journey continued southward, visiting smaller ports like Brava and Zubu, trading with nomadic clans, and sailing to Malindi and the vibrant trade hub of Mombasa. At every stop, the fleet wove together a legacy of cultural exchange, diplomacy, and the boundless ambition of the Ming dynasty's dragon throne. Through these voyages, Zheng cemented his place in history, bridging worlds and bringing the farthest corners of the earth within reach of China's vision. If the world already belonged to the emperor, there was no need for him to conquer what he considered his own, nor to wage unnecessary wars against those he deemed his subjects. This was an era of diplomacy. Arab, Indian, and African envoys joined a grand procession of soldiers, nobles, and exotic animals like giraffes through the awe-inspiring heart of the newly constructed Forbidden City. Glowing lanterns illuminated the path, and fireworks lit up the night sky, casting reflections over the city's moats. The young Yongle Emperor stood before them, reading proclamations from royal scrolls, his gaze sweeping over the magnificent northern capital of his ascending empire. Yet, the fleet soon set sail for Africa again, even as omens suggested the heavens were turning against the emperor. Lightning struck the Forbidden City, setting several wings ablaze. Famine gripped the countryside, and on the empire's northern frontiers, where scattered walls and remote garrisons stood, Mongol raiders surged into the land. Rallying his armies for a long campaign, the aging emperor succumbed to illness during the march. His successor dismissed the voyages as wasteful extravagance, and Confucian scholars echoed this sentiment, denouncing foreign affairs and the growing influence of eunuchs like Zheng. This emperor reigned only 9 months before being succeeded by the Xuande emperor, who summoned Zheng, now in his 60s, for one final voyage. In 1431, the legendary fleet embarked on its last journey. Its divisions revisited familiar ports in Asia before venturing once more to Africa's bustling harbors. There, the echoes of Ming influence were evident. Locals drank from fine Chinese pottery, adorned their mosques with porcelain tiles, and wore silk garments from the east. Some accounts suggest that the fleet traded as far south as Tanzania and possibly Madagascar, already settled by Indonesian voyagers. This marked the end of an era. Zheng, the fleet's indomitable leader, is believed to have died of illness on the return journey. His body was buried at sea, facing Mecca. As the century closed, Vasco da Gama rounded Africa's southern tip, ushering in the Portuguese age of exploration. The Portuguese seized parts of the eastern African coast by force, but the locals, familiar with the grandeur of the Chinese treasure fleet, found European ships and goods unimpressive. The Portuguese became middlemen in trade with the Far East, as the ships of the Dragon Throne had vanished, and China's palace gates were firmly shut. Piracy once again plagued her seas. A court official, Liu Daxia, dismissed Zheng He's voyages as indulgent fantasies and ordered the destruction or concealment of their official records. What survived were fragments written by learned crew members. Across the ocean, a Swahili poet reminisced about African cities where feasting tables once gleamed with Chinese ware, every vessel intricately engraved. By 1800, this golden age had faded. Where once porcelain filled the wall niches, now wild birds built their nests. Along the East African coast, villagers claimed descent from shipwrecked Chinese sailors. In the sands and along the quiet shorelines, faded shards of porcelain and coins bearing the Yongle Emperor's mark still surface, remnants of an extraordinary age. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. If you found this story interesting and meaningful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting content coming out. Leave a comment to share your thoughts. We're eager to hear from you. See you in the upcoming videos with more unique and meaningful stories. Stay with us.